There has been a Punisher and Batman, a couple of them, I think. They did 2, maybe.
Yes, and it was actually pretty good. I think. Oh, never mind. It was written by douchebag extraordinaire Chuck Dixon.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm not going to praise it, but
yeah. I mean, I'm actually kind of curious to see what that was like. I imagine he wasn't quite so demented back then, but who knows? All right.
He's a shithead. He worked with. I don't know if you remember the name Vox Day. He's like an early.
Oh, yeah.
He's that Nazi, like full-fledged, like fucking
self-avowed white nationalist.
Yeah, but Chuck Dixon's was bros with him at one point. So
yeah, he published his QAnon comic on Vox Day's
Alt Hero.
Yep, Alt Hero Q.
Jesus. Yep.
Yeah, I covered all that because in the videos where I talked about, because I was curious where all of the, anime is outselling comics narrative had come from suddenly. Like I just started getting that a lot from ComicsGaters and shit. And I started digging into it. And I was like, where's the first instance I can find of this being said, like in a major way? And it was interview Chuck Dixon did, just like a year and a half ago or something. But it was just some casual thing he said. He didn't give any kind of source or anything like that. No citation. He's just like, that's why anime is outselling, American comics, because they don't put politics in their stuff or whatever. And it's like,
why is that a talking point?
Well, because they had to move the goalpost. Because for the first several years of ComicsGate, it was like the industry is collapsing, it's dying, it's failing, and then year after year, the sales numbers are rising. And they're at a certain point, I guess they realized they can't keep saying that. They needed to move the goalposts. So that's when it became, but anime is beating it, as if that's any kind of metric. Yeah,
there are people in the. Sorry to completely derail this.
It's all good.
There are people in the ComicsGate intelligentsia who will unironically tell you that it's a diverse group of people and that the bigots and racists are just a small portion of an overall benign movement of comics fans.
I covered that on stream Saturday, and I clipped it that today. It'll be going up tomorrow, I think. So it's like I get DMs from ComicsGaters pretty often. Most of them are garbage, incoherent, or just abusive bullshit. Every once in a while, I'll get one that's like very well worded, articulate, and it's always from somebody who's actually a ComicsGate creator. Most of the ones I get are from fans, ComicsGate fans, right? The cultists. Then every once in a while, I'll get an email or a DM from a ComicsGate creator who's got their own books and stuff like that, and they're trying to plead with me civilly. And they'll say, like, I'm not going to say who it's from because I don't want to platform anybody or give anybody. I don't want to mention the person's name, but it's not anybody that I'd heard of before they sent me the DM. So, but I looked into them, and but it's like this one the other day said, I just think it's unfair that you paint. You always mention Ethan Van Sciver. You always mention Ethan Van Sciver as part of. Yeah, I mean, I know, buddy. Nobody who's in a cult thinks they're in a cult, but thank you for your,
Dude, Vox Day. You're in the movement of Vox Day.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you're in the movement of Ethan Van Sciver and Vox Day and Chuck Dixon, like just in their own words,
right.
Like, do you think there were good Nazis? Do you think
let me address this because, okay, I apologize for calling you a cultist. If you don't agree with them 3/4 of the time, then what I'm about to say actually applies to you. So these DMs I'll often get will say, it's not fair to paint all of ComicsGate with a broad brush. You always talk about Ethan Van Sciver and ComicsGate as if they're the same thing. It's not fair. There's a lot of people in ComicsGate who just, are there. He said that the line they have is create, don't hate. And it's like, okay, I know there are people in ComicsGate who, as far as I can tell, don't go out and advocate hateful shit. They're not, saying hateful shit. They're not harassing anybody. I know those people exist in ComicsGate. All right. I'm not delusional to think that every single person that calls themselves ComicsGate is the same as Van Sciver. But because the thing is, everybody that's aware of ComicsGate, though, Anybody, if you're a comics fan and you know about Comicsgate, you either you know that Ethan Van Sciver is essentially there is no official structure to it, but unofficially Ethan is the head of it. He's the leader. He's the one that sets the tone. He's the most commonly known one. He's the one that decides if he doesn't want you in Comicsgate, he's gonna fucking make sure you're not in Comicsgate anymore. So to try and act like it's unfair to paint Comicsgate, with the brush of Van Sciver and Malin and all these other fucking people, it's like, no, they are inherently tied to it. You can't rehabilitate the image of Comicsgate. It's not going to happen. You may not agree with all of the hateful shit. You may not agree with all that. Maybe you just want to create your indie books and you hate what the big two are doing for whatever reason. That's up to you. If that's your private reason, that's your preference, whatever. I'm not saying you're wrong for not liking what, mainstream comics are doing, but if you don't agree with all of that shit that everybody involved in comics, fans, creators, they know the history of Comicsgate and the harassment and the hate speech and the bullying and the doxing, right? It still happens. I get it all the time. Judah's been doxed by Comicsgate just for having a certain person on his stream.
They picked the worst.
I'm just trying to let me finish my rant. If you don't agree with those things, disavow Comicsgate and start your own fucking thing. There's no reason to be associated with something that is just that known for that type of shit. If you don't agree with it, disavow it. Come out clearly and say, I don't fucking agree with this. I don't consider myself Comicsgate. I wanted to just make indie comics, but these guys are doing this shit and I don't approve of that. That would be like me coming up to you and saying, hey man, I know the KKK is known for burning crosses and wearing hoods and stuff like that, but I think there's actually some really good things going on in the KKK. And trying to convince you that, hey, it's not so bad. Yeah, there's some bad elements of the KKK. You know what I mean? But there's a few good guys in there. That's essentially the same thing. I don't care if you think I'm, being mean, or you think I'm a SJW, woke, agenda, leftist, whatever. These are just facts. You don't have to be a fucking agenda-driven leftist. It's very common knowledge in the comics community among creators and fans that that's what Comicsgate is known for. And you're not going to rehabilitate that image. So the best thing you can do if you don't agree with it is get the fuck out and denounce it. Thank you. I'll be here all night.
I agree. Well said. Yeah. There's so many indie comics that are made outside of, most indie comics made outside of the purview of Comicsgate. It's not necessary to attach yourself to Comicsgate to enjoy indie comics.
Yeah, that's another thing that irritates me is they act like they've got the market cornered on indie comics. It's like, no.
And they use Indiegogo, which is inherently predatory. It's a crowdfunding platform designed to rip people off. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only one that doesn't require you to pay back your supporters if you don't make all your money. And they, I think they did announce that they were going to be applying some new standards, though. I think they probably did realize that a lot of the projects on their platform had screwed over a lot of people. They probably got enough complaints finally. So they said they're going to be making some changes. If they actually make the changes they said they're going to, and they hold to those changes, it's not going to be great for Comicsgate. Yeah.
No, not going to be great.
I appreciate that you see the point in that, Mike. And I think Captain James Biggians said that was fair to say as well. Yeah, I'm not just like a screeching blue-haired SJW. I'm looking at this very pragmatically. Set aside what I think about what Comicsgate is known for. I'm talking about what it is generally known for. And if you're pragmatic and you're trying to get your comic off the ground and get it known and get it read by a wide audience, the last thing you would want to do is associate with a word, a hashtag that is known for what Comicsgate is known for. You're basically sorry.
I was going to say to make it even more personal, like Mike D, you say you're a buy guy that writes reviews on a site related to Comicsgate. When they're doing bigoted, homophobic shit, they can point to their site and be like, oh, but we have people writing reviews for us that are bi. Like we're not bigoted. We're not bigots. So you don't want to help them do that,
Yeah. I mean, if what you're saying is accurate, man, and I hate to say this, but I'm not known for beating around the bush. So I'm just going to be direct. You're making yourself a token. And it allows, that type of, if you're part of a community that's queer or person of color or anything like that, and you're, supporting or defending or even just, working behind the scenes in support of ComicsGate, you are being used as a token by them. Tokenism. Where's my comic, Ethan? Exactly.